Do your joints hurt every single day, and you just don't know what to do anymore? That pain that wakes up with you in the morning, that interferes with your walks, that makes you think twice before climbing a single flight of stairs? I'm going to show you today why this pain might not just be age-related wear and tear, but rather an accumulation of toxic substances inside your joints that nobody has explained how to eliminate. My name is Finley Crosden. I'm a rheumatologist with over 20 years of experience, and during all this time, I've seen hundreds of patients suffering from chronic pain that could have been prevented or at least significantly reduced if they had known what I'm about to tell you right now. You've probably tried everything already, haven't you? Took anti-inflammatory medications, applied topical creams, used hot compresses, cold compresses, tried glucosamine, chondroitin, collagen supplements, spent money at the pharmacy, on imported supplements, even on those miracle formulas that promise to end your pain in 7 days. And the pain? It's still there. Sometimes it gets a little better, you get excited, you think you've finally found the solution. But soon enough, it comes back. And sometimes it comes back even worse than before. This happens because most of these treatments address the symptom, not the cause. It's like wiping up water from a ceiling leak without fixing the pipe that's actually leaking. You clean it up today, tomorrow it's wet again. Let me tell you about Robert. He came to my office at 71 years old, limping, leaning on a cane that he absolutely hated using. His wife came along, holding his arm, with that look of worry that I recognize from a mile away. He sat down in the chair with difficulty, grimacing in pain, and before I could even ask anything, he was already talking. "Doctor, I can't take it anymore. For 5 years now I've been waking up with knee pain. 5 years. 1,800 days waking up, and the first thing I feel is pain. I've been to 3 orthopedic surgeons, had x-rays, MRIs, CT scans, taken so much medication that my stomach can't handle it anymore. I have gastritis from anti-inflammatory drugs. Everyone tells me it's osteoarthritis, that it's just age, that I have to accept it. But I won't accept it. I'm 71, not 90. My father at this age was still playing golf every weekend, having beers with his friends, walking miles on end. Why can't I even walk to the corner store 2 blocks from my house?" His wife added, her voice choked with emotion. "Doctor, he used to be a different man. Hard-working, active, cheerful. Now he spends all day on the couch because everything hurts. He doesn't want to go out anymore, doesn't want to see his friends. I'm afraid of losing my husband to this pain." I looked at the test results he brought. He definitely had osteoarthritis, cartilage degeneration, something that everyone over 60 has to some degree. But there was something that caught my attention. His inflammatory markers were elevated. Not extremely high, nothing alarming. But they were there, persistent, for years. And when I asked about his diet, his lifestyle, what he drank, what he ate, how he slept, the picture started to become clear. Robert, like many people his age, had habits that he never imagined were damaging his joints. It wasn't anything extreme. It wasn't any terrible addiction. It was the soda every day at lunch. It was the white bread in the morning with margarine. It was the processed meat at dinner because it's more convenient. It was sleeping poorly because he stayed up late watching television. These were small things that, on their own, seem harmless. But together, over years and years, they create a toxic environment inside the body that accumulates in the joints. Let me explain what happens. The human body is an incredible processing machine. Everything you eat, drink, and breathe passes through a filtration and elimination system. The liver filters, the kidneys eliminate, the intestines process, the skin sweats, the lungs exhale. Multiple organs working together 24 hours a day to keep the body clean. When this system works well, toxins come in and go out. The body stays balanced. The problem is that after 60, this system starts to slow down. The liver doesn't work with the same efficiency as before. Liver cells regenerate more slowly. The kidneys filter less, losing nephrons every year that passes. The intestines absorb nutrients more poorly and let through more substances they shouldn't, especially if the gut flora is imbalanced. And that's when the accumulation begins. These substances that the body can't properly eliminate need to go somewhere. And do you know where they like to deposit themselves? In the joints, especially in those that already have some wear, some chronic low-grade inflammation. It's like an abandoned lot where trash keeps accumulating because nobody cleans it. Over time, this trash starts to irritate the surrounding tissues, increases inflammation, recruits immune cells that release more inflammatory substances, and the pain that was moderate becomes unbearable. It becomes that pain that wakes you up in the middle of the night, that doesn't let you sleep properly, that turns every step into a battle. This information you're receiving right now is fundamental to understanding your pain. That's why I need you to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. When you do that, you help this knowledge reach more people who are suffering without knowing why. So go ahead, like and subscribe now, and let's continue. The most recent scientific studies show that there's a direct relationship between what we call the body's toxic load and the intensity of joint pain. Researchers from Harvard University published a study showing that people with elevated levels of certain inflammatory markers in their blood were 3 times more likely to develop chronic joint pain. 3 times more. And the most interesting thing is that many of these markers are directly linked to what the person eats and the lifestyle they lead. There are specific substances that function as slow poison for the joints. Advanced glycation end products, which we call AGEs, are one example. They form when you eat highly processed foods, foods that have been heated at high temperatures, foods that are very browned. That crispy skin on fried chicken, full of AGEs. That well-done crispy bacon, AGEs. That industrialized sliced bread, AGEs. These substances accumulate in joint tissues and cause a constant inflammatory reaction. It's as if you had a small fire burning inside your knee 24 hours a day. Another villain is excess omega-6 fatty acids. Look, omega-6 isn't bad by nature. The problem is the imbalance. The modern diet has way too much omega-6, which is pro-inflammatory, and too little omega-3, which is anti-inflammatory. Soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, which are in practically everything that's processed, are rich in omega-6. When you eat a lot of that and very little fish, very little flaxseed, very little chia, the body stays in a state of chronic inflammation, and the joints suffer. There's also excess uric acid, which everyone associates only with gout, but which at moderately elevated levels already causes problems. Excess uric acid forms microscopic crystals that deposit in the joints and cause pain. You can have high uric acid and never have had a classic gout attack, but still be suffering from joint pain because of these microcrystals that nobody investigates. Going back to Robert. When I explained all this to him, he was silent for a while. Then he said something I'll never forget. "Doctor, so it's my fault? I caused this to myself?" I responded calmly. "Robert, blame doesn't solve anything. What matters is that now you know, and knowing is the power to change. Starting today, we're going to work together to clean out these joints. It's not magic. It won't happen overnight. But it works. The The protocol I've developed over these 20 years of practice has 3 pillars. First, stop putting more toxins in. Second, help the body eliminate what's already accumulated. Third, nourish the joints with what they need to recover. The first pillar is the hardest because it involves changing habits, but it doesn't need to be radical. I don't ask anyone to become a monk. I don't ask them to abandon everything they like to eat. I don't ask for impossible sacrifices. I ask for adjustments. Small adjustments that, added together, make an enormous difference. Replace soda with water with lemon, which besides hydrating also helps alkalize the body. Replace white bread with real whole grain bread, the kind where you can see the grains, that has fiber, that doesn't turn into sugar in your blood in 5 minutes. Replace margarine with extra virgin olive oil, which is a natural anti-inflammatory. Reduce processed meat, deli meat, bacon, sausage, ham, which are full of preservatives and substances the body doesn't recognize. Increase consumption of vegetables, especially dark leafy greens like kale, spinach, broccoli, arugula, which are rich in magnesium and antioxidants. Eat more fish, at least twice a week. Sardines are cheap and excellent. Mackerel too. Salmon if your budget allows. These fish are rich in omega-3, which is the main natural anti-inflammatory that exists. The second pillar is helping the body do its cleaning. And this is where some strategies work very well. The first is to greatly increase water intake. It seems too simple to be true, but most people over 60 don't drink enough water. The body needs water to dilute and eliminate toxins through the kidneys. Without enough water, the kidneys can't do their job properly. Toxins become more concentrated, and the body suffers. I recommend at least 2 liters per day, distributed throughout the day, not all at once. A glass when you wake up, a glass mid-morning, a glass before lunch, and so on. If you don't like plain water, you can add lemon slices, orange slices, mint leaves. The important thing is to drink. The second strategy is to include foods that help the liver work better. The liver is the body's great filter, and it needs certain nutrients to function well. Dandelion tea, milk thistle tea, artichoke, beets, carrots, lemon, kale. These foods contain substances that stimulate bile production and help the liver process and eliminate toxins. You can have a dandelion tea every morning on an empty stomach. Boil the water, add some dandelion leaves or a tea bag, let it steep for 5 minutes, strain and drink it warm. It's cheap, easy to find, and helps a lot. Many people report that just by including this tea, they already feel a difference in their energy and pain levels. The third strategy is movement. I know that when it hurts, the last thing you want to do is move. But movement is essential for the circulation of synovial fluid, that liquid that lubricates the joints. When you move, this fluid circulates, brings nutrients to the cartilage, and helps remove waste. It doesn't have to be intense exercise. Light walking, water aerobics, stretching. The important thing is not to stay still. The third pillar is nourishing the joints. And here I'm going to talk about some things that actually work, not internet fads. Type 2 hydrolyzed collagen has scientific evidence that it helps in cartilage regeneration. It's not just any collagen, it has to be type 2, specific for joints. The recommended dose is 40 milligrams per day. You can find it at supplement stores for around $20 to $30 a month. Vitamin D is fundamental. The majority of Americans are deficient in vitamin D, and this vitamin is essential for the health of bones and joints. Ask your doctor to check your vitamin D levels. If it's low, supplementation makes an enormous difference. Generally, 1,000 to 2,000 units per day are used, but this needs to be individualized. Magnesium is another nutrient that almost everyone is lacking. Magnesium participates in more than 300 reactions in the body, including cartilage formation and inflammation control. You can supplement with chelated magnesium, 200 to 400 milligrams per day, or increase consumption of magnesium-rich foods like nuts, seeds, and dark leafy greens. Now I want to hear from you. Do you feel this chronic joint pain? Have you tried everything and nothing works? Comment below sharing your experience. I want to know where it hurts most, for how long, what you've tried. I read the comments, and this helps me create more specific content to help you. Going back to Robert. He followed the protocol diligently. He cut out soda on the first day, started drinking 2 liters of water, included the dandelion tea in the morning. His wife helped, started cooking differently, less fried food, more vegetables, more fish. In the first 2 weeks, he didn't feel much difference. He got discouraged, called me wanting to give up. "Doctor, it's not working. I'm doing everything right, and the pain is still the same." I told him to be patient, that his body took years to accumulate those toxins. It wasn't going to clean up in 2 weeks. He continued. In the 4th week, he started noticing that he was waking up with less stiffness. You know that feeling of being locked up in the morning, of needing half an hour to loosen up? That had decreased. His knee still hurt, but that sensation of being rusty in the morning had improved considerably. At 2 months, the change was visible. He walked into my office without the cane. He was still limping slightly, but walking on his own. His face was different. It had color. It had life. It had hope. His wife came along again, but this time smiling. "Dr. Crosden," he said, "I can't believe what's happening. It's been 30 years since I climbed stairs without holding on to the railing. Yesterday I climbed the church steps for Sunday service and only realized halfway up that I hadn't held on to anything." We ran new tests. The inflammatory markers had dropped significantly. The pain, which he rated as 8 on a scale of 0 to 10, was now a 3. He went back to playing golf with his friends on weekends. Not like he played at 50, of course, but he played. He participated. He lived. Robert's story is not an exception. I've seen this happen dozens of times. People who arrive at the office devastated, thinking life is over, that they'll have to live with pain forever, and who in a few months, with the right changes, recover quality of life they thought they had lost forever. By the way, for those who want to go deeper into joint health and how to care for your joints after 60, I left the definitive guide to strengthening muscles and joints after 60 in the pinned comment and in the description. There you'll find more detailed information about nutrition, supplementation, and specific exercises. If you're interested, check it out later. I need to make an important warning here. Everything I said in this video is educational information. It doesn't replace medical consultation. If you have chronic joint pain, you need to investigate with tests, rule out other causes. Rheumatoid arthritis, for example, is an autoimmune disease that needs specific treatment. Gout needs medication. Joint infection is a medical emergency. So don't fail to seek a healthcare professional to evaluate your case. But what I want you to understand is that there's a lot you can do on your own in your daily life that will complement any medical treatment and enhance the results. Conventional medicine is important. Medications have their place. But they work much better when the body is in a less toxic, less inflamed, better nourished environment. You have 2 choices right now. The first is to keep doing what you've always done, taking pain medication when it gets bad, eating the same things, keeping the same habits. The pain will continue, probably get worse over time, and in a few years, you could be much worse off than today. The second choice is to start the change now. You don't have to be perfect. Start with one thing. Replace soda with water, just that. Do it for a week. Then add another change. Walk 10 minutes a day. Then another. Include a dandelion tea in the morning. Small steps that accumulate and create a new pattern. 3 months from now, you could be like Robert, climbing stairs without holding on, walking to the store without pain, playing with your grandchildren on the floor. This is possible. I see it happen every week in my practice. Text this video to that friend who complains about knee pain every day, that neighbor who can't go for walks anymore, your brother taking anti-inflammatory pills like candy. You can change someone's life by sharing this information now. Thank you for watching. Take good care of your joints. They're what allow you to walk, to hug, to live. See you in the next video. Take care and great health to you.